welcome back to the Not Carrie Bradshaw YouTube channel. In this video, I am so excited to recap episode 2 of Bridgerton on Netflix, the show that has all the town buzz. I love how they say town. It sounds like they're saying ton, and even on the subtitles it says ton instead of town. I wonder if that's intentional or what. I have questions about that. I watch most things with subtitles on just because I enjoy some of the descriptions that subtitles give. And then also, I don't know if I mentioned this in the other video, but there are a lot of pop songs that are played classically on this show, and the subtitles will tell you which song that is. So I think that that's just a cute little tidbit, just a little bit more color. I think subtitles kind of give a little bit more color, a little bit more explanation, background, whatever about what's going on. So just something to try if you want to. You don't necessarily have to read them all. I know y'all don't like to read. Anywho, so this episode we get Simon's backstory. We learn why Simon is the way that he is about marriage and about kids, and it turns out that Simon's dad, the original Duke of Hastings, is a dick. So when Simon was first born, his mom died giving birth to him, and we learn later in the episode that she had a really hard time conceiving. And I guess, well, it stands to reason, did she have a hard time conceiving, or did she have a hard time conceiving him a son? Because we don't really hear Simon mention anything about any siblings. So I wonder, did she just never get pregnant, or did the other kids that she had, were they girls, and did they just kind of, were they cast aside? Because when Simon's mom has him, she says, did I finally give him a boy? And so I'm wondering, had she had any other kids before that were just kind of like cast aside, or did they die, or like, is there something there? Am I reading too much into it? Drop down in the comments, let me know. And the Duke of Hastings was thrilled, didn't even check on his wife like, girl, you okay? Because honestly, just as an aside, every time I watch period pieces, I'm always struck by the fact that women were willingly having children back then. Ain't no anesthesia, ain't no doulas. And I've said this to people who are mothers, and they're just like, well, your body knows what to do. I'm sure. But I really just, the fact that any of us are here when labor was like that. And then back then, you didn't even know if your kids was gonna really survive. You might have 10 kids and only 5 of them live. I think like Abraham Lincoln had like a situation where like several of his children did not make it into like childhood. I think it's Abraham Lincoln. Anyway, Google it. Anywho, the Duke of Hastings does not like check on his wife at all. It's just like, oh, I finally got a boy. So my good sis, Lady Danbury, we find out that her connection to Simon is that she was Simon's mom's best friend. So she comes in there like, somebody needs to be with my good sis. Like, y'all out here doing man stuff, celebrating, smoking cigars. What about her? She's in here obviously in excruciating pain, shitting out a baby. So Lady Danbury, bad bitch as she is, you know, she tries to go through the door. Some terrible man is standing in the way, won't let her by. So once Simon's mom has him, they take the baby away. Lady Danbury is able to go in and check on her, and she dies because she's lost too much blood. So later on in the episode, we find that Simon has a stutter. The father feels that in order for, he says that they're in a precarious situation because in order for them to carry on the Hastings name, and in order for them to keep their property or their title or whatever, they have to be nothing short of extraordinary. Now I'm wondering, is that just because that's how most men back then felt? Back then their obsession was siring an heir to take on their family name, their family title, their family property, and all those good things? Or did he feel that they needed to be exceptional because they actually are black, and that actually does mean something in this time where we aren't really addressing race? We do find out at a later time that the reason that race is a little bit less of a thing is because the queen is black, the king is white, and because he married this black woman, now black people are accepted in society. We know that ain't how, so this is a fantasy, okay? So I'm wondering, was he saying that they were in a precarious position and that they had to be extraordinary in the way that black people present day, you know, looking back at Shondaland, looking back at Shonda Rhimes shows, we know that Papa Pope gave that iconic speech to Olivia Pope about we have to be twice as good. We have to be 3 times as good. So I was wondering, was that some of that, or is it just the fact that back then that was a concern for all men? Well, all property owning men, was that they needed to have a son to carry on their name. So I wonder if they'll dive into that, or once again, maybe I'm thinking too much about it. And basically Simon has a stutter, and that makes him imperfect. And the father is like, he's an idiot, he's an imbecile, get him away from me, I never want to see him. He shades his mama, like, damn, you just gonna talk about this boy dead mama like that in front of him? Like, ugh. He gets him back, we'll get there, but just like, oh no, what a terrible fucking person. Oh my God. Lady Danbury finds Simon, speaks life over him, like in this prophetic way of telling him, you can speak, I'm gonna take care of you. And I used to be painfully shy until I grew up and I decided that I'm gonna be the person who people are afraid to see in a room or afraid to have to interact with. And lo and behold, she kept her word, because people do, you know, when she come and it's like, damn, now we gotta talk to Lady Danbury. But I love so much that it was a Black woman who spoke life into this little boy. And as much as I find it sometimes problematic that that's what we as Black women are expected to do, even for grown men, I do find it really beautiful that Lady Danbury, one of the few Black women on the show who isn't fair-skinned, took the reins of taking care of this boy and making him into the Duke that everyone loves and knows today. And she makes him promise her that if I take care of you, you promise me that you will uphold this name and that you will command a room when you walk into it. And man, does he, honey, okay. So that's Simon's backstory. We're gonna get a little bit into that later. Moving right along, so Lady Whistledown reports that the Duke and Daphne are an item. Everyone is loving it. It has a town abuzz, and it also is bringing the boys to the yard, which is what the whole purpose of this faux relationship was to make other suitors want to be with Daphne because a Duke desires her. So they, you know, if a Duke wants her, then like, I definitely need to get with her, kind of thing. So many of the suitors are coming over to the house. Just then, Anthony is bringing Lord Berbrooke over because he has orchestrated this engagement for Daphne with Lord Berbrooke, not knowing the tea about how Lord Berbrooke really is not giving what you think is giving, Anthony. So, sorry, I'm trying to keep up with everything. Y'all know I have my notes. So Anthony, because he comes there with Lord Berbrooke is somebody, he wore his best pants for the event. Like, girl, calm down. It's fine. Relax. And Anthony runs off all the suitors, once again, being a hater, not really knowing how to take charge of the family like he claims he wants to. And he's trying to reassure Daphne and Lady Bridgerton, I think her name's Violet, that the Duke is not serious. The Duke does not actually want to be married. He's not about to propose to Daphne. You need to be with someone who has made a proposal to you, which is Lord Berbrooke. So now Daphne is, you know, kind of like, damn, okay, my mom thinks that I'm safe from this man because I have the Duke, but in my mind, I know that me and the Duke aren't serious. So I actually really do need a legitimate suitor. I need a legitimate husband or a legitimate fiance. So moving right along, I'm gonna say y'all right now, this is a Will Mondrich Stan account. Okay, obviously Simon is a very, very beautiful character to look at. We're all here for something. I just realized my hands might be ashy. Sorry, y'all. Obviously, I'm washing my hands a lot these days. I hope y'all are too, as an aside. Obviously, Simon is very beautiful to look at. Ain't nobody gonna take nothing from him. But let me tell you something. When Will Mondrich came on the screen, my mom was like, "Oh, that could be my son-in-law." And I was like, "In the name of Jesus, speak it prophetically." Yes, it could. Yes, it could. That is a man. I am so happy that we get to see more of him later in the season, and I'm hoping, I do have a prediction about season 2, but we will get there. I'm really hoping that we get to see a whole lot more of Will in season 2, honey. Yes. So Anthony basically rolls over up in their boxing, you know, session, and it's like, back off my sister. I know you're not serious about her. And Simon is like, girl, it's not giving what you think is giving once again, because he's not the man that you think he is. I don't know what kind of detective work you feel like you did, but keep it cute. So now there's conflict between these two friends, obviously, because this is his sister. He's charged with the task of making sure that she's married off, and he knows that Simon ain't really that type of dude, even more so than Daphne knows. So as an aside, meanwhile, back at the ranch, back at the Featherington estate, the girls are trying to figure out, how do people get pregnant? Like, where do babies come from? And Lady Featherington has convinced her daughters that it's something that you can catch. So they're like, girl, what's gonna happen to us? So Penelope is telling Eloise, like, girl, can you find out where babies come from? Because what's gonna happen if we mess around and get a baby? Like, if it's contagious, because we gotta stay away from Miss Thompson, because my mama says you can catch it. And it's just so funny how unaware these girls are, even at their age, of the biology of their own bodies. And it just goes to show what happens. And we see even later on in the season what happens when you don't properly educate women about the biologies of their bodies. Something we should really consider even today. I find it really interesting that we're still not it's not to that extent, but we aren't so far removed from a time when people just were not actually people. I mean, men and women were not properly educated about the biology of women's bodies. I mean, even still, like I remember in college, a friend who did not know that there was a difference between your urethra and your vagina. And I'm not joking. That was a conversation we had to have with an adult. So, the queen invites Lady Bridgerton over. What is her? Viscountess, the Dowager Viscountess. It's not Lady. I watch so many period pieces. I should know these titles. You know, I'm kind of like a connoisseur, if you will, and I don't remember these titles at all. But anyway, so the queen has sent notice that she wants Violet to come over for a kiki. We'll get back to that. Marina, Miss Thompson, the cousin, reveals to Penn that she fell in love with basically what I'm guessing was like the vicar's son, a PK, a pastor's child, honey, or whatever, at the church back where she's from. They fell in love. Obviously, they had sex. He went off to fight in Spain, and they talked to each other via letters. And you will notice, this will come in later on, that I don't know, she's the governess or the lady's maid or whatever, sees Marina writing these letters and like sees where she hides them. That does come back up later, so that's just as an aside. So the ball where we, oh my God, did I put this? Oh, that's it. So, sorry y'all, I think I actually skipped a pretty significant part, or did it come up yet? No. Okay, good. I'm on track. Sorry y'all. Okay, so it's yet another ball. Again, this is social season. Parties, parties, parties on parties. So at this ball, Lord Berbrooke feels like he's going to confront Simon about Daphne, and you can really see that Daphne and Simon are actually starting to really like each other. This is becoming, we've seen this 1,000 times over, where two people get together out of some sort of a ruse and then they end up falling for each other. I mean, we've seen countless movies where this has happened. If it's not a friends with benefits kind of situation, it's always something that two people who are pretending. One of my favorite movies, which is about to come out with the third and final, To All the Boys I Loved, we're pretending to be in a relationship, then we fall for each other. We see this story all the time. Anyway, you can see that they're really starting to be into each other. Lord Berbrooke shows up and he's trying to confront Anthony about like, what's up with the contract for the engagement. Long story short, Simon ends up having to reveal to Anthony that like, he tried it with your sister. That's why he got a black eye now. So keep it cute coming at me all wild as if this man is like a legitimate suitor when he's really a shit person. So Anthony is kind of, I find this really interesting because this happens in real life where he's like, she would have told me. And Simon is like, would she? If you don't create safe spaces for people in your life to tell their truths, they won't. And you could be you could be contributing to, you could be a co-conspirator without you even knowing to their pain or to their suffering. You know, Anthony has not created a safe space for Daphne to say, this is what this man did to me. And of course, obviously it was a different time, but I was actually really happy that Simon let him know, like, once again, it's not giving what you think it's giving. So this gets Daphne out of the situation temporarily. So we roll over to after the ball. Lord Berbrooke feels like he can go and confront Simon. Now, let me tell you what I love about this show compared to other period pieces that I've watched. I watched so many people get disrespected on shows, you know, shows like Downton Abbey, or even if you go back and watch Pride and Prejudice. People love to be disrespectful, and they don't suffer any physical consequences for it. What I love on this show is that they do. You think in your mind somebody needs to slap this bitch, and then they get slapped. So Lord Berbrooke tries to confront Simon, and Simon is like, I'm telling you, you might want to back off. Don't come at Daphne like that again. She has not been spoiled. Like he was trying to say, like, oh, you don't want to marry her because you've already had her. She's been sullied, blah, 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 blah. And when he crosses the line when he makes a comment about his mama and about the dad not choosing well or something, I'm really hoping that next season we learn more about Simon's lineage and like what the tea actually is there with regard to his dad and his mom's partnership, because it sounds like there was a little bit more to it per Lord Berbrooke with his trifling ass. Long story short, Simon beats his ass, which I was really happy about, until the next day. We're at the family picnic. The girls are having a promenade. You know, Daphne and Simon are, you know, getting a little bit closer and, you know, continuing their plot. And then Lord Berbrooke shows up with this contract, even though Anthony told him, you know, at the ball, like, stay away from my sister. Don't even breathe on her. Like, don't even breathe her way. I air this bitch out straight up. So here comes Lord Berbrooke, face all bloodied and bruised. And he has this contract like, I went to a court, y'all gonna have to, you know, do what I say, blah, 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 blah. So now Daphne is distraught, like, damn, I really do have to marry Lord Berbrooke. What's the tea now? Like, I actually really have to marry this man. So, this is getting long. Let me find a way to wrap this up. It looks like all hope is lost until Violet steps in. They actually invite Lord Berbrooke's mom over for tea so that the maids can have a little kiki, and come to find out, Lord Berbrooke actually has an illegitimate child by one of his maids who he has not ever taken care of. The ladies gossip, it gets back to Lady Whistledown, and now Lord Berbrooke has been run out of town to actually go and take care of this illegitimate child. There's no such thing as an illegitimate child. But he goes to, you know, handle this business, so now Lord Berbrooke is actually out of the way. Daphne still needs a husband though. So at the final ball that night, another thing too, Eloise shares with Daphne some of her fears. Like, how are you not afraid of being a wife and a mother? And, you know, they heard their mom giving birth to their younger sister and she almost died. And Eloise does not buy that Daphne is actually as excited or believes in this process as much as she says that she does. And this makes Daphne realize, like, shit, this is my life. I really have to actually find a husband. Yes, Lord Berbrooke is out of the way, but the Duke isn't actually going to marry me and nobody else has made a proposal. Shit's getting real. So she has a conversation with Simon that night at the ball that, like, I need a husband and I need kids. Now, this actually strikes a nerve with Simon, because you can tell that Simon is actually really starting to care for and develop feelings for Daphne. Beyond just defending her honor, he obviously has issues with bullies because his father was a bully, but he realizes, wow, I actually really do have feelings for her, but I am not going to give her kids. Like, even if he said, I will marry you, I'm not going to give you kids. And we see why, because at the end of this episode, we flash back to why Simon came in town anyway, which was that his father, the Duke of Hastings, died, and he swore to his dad on his deathbed, as punishment, as retribution for the way you treated me, the way you treated my mom, the way you disavowed all knowledge of me. You felt like I was not enough or I was inappropriate. I will never marry and I will never have kids, and your name will die with me. And talk about payback, talk about, and his dad died feeling like a failure. Talk about payback, child. So this episode, of course, obviously was really good. I wish I could remember the names of the songs that they played in this episode, but I'm not super big on top 40 like pop music. I can recognize the tune, but I can't tell you what song it is or who it's about. I'm also 33. That's not really my responsibility. Y'all can Google that. So let me know what you guys thought of this episode in the comments. I'm really excited to continue talking about the show with you guys. I'm also just on pins and needles for season 2, so I need to start watching some other stuff so that I can just kind of, once I'm done reviewing this, I need to kind of forget about it, because I'm going to be like just dying to see what's going to happen next on this show. I really obviously like it, so be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, send your girl a coin or two, send me some money, you know, become a patron, or, you know, you can cash at me. If you don't want to commit to, you know, shooting me a coin or two consistently every month, just cash at me, DM me. I will happily give you my name. So thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you again soon for episode 3. Bye.